in Brooklyn, New York. This father is ironically displaying his fatherless behavior as he curses out law enforcement while carrying a baby.
You should have came up and said nothing to me. Good. Look how you act. I don't give a about none of that. It's my business, not yours. Come on. You made him like this. Hey, brother. You made him like this. Don't touch me again. I'm telling you I'm a hook on you, bro. All the cameras is out. All the cameras is out. Come on. Come on. Touch me. Don't touch me. Don't block my way. None of that. You can't do none of that. You can't do none of that. Don't matter. Fix the
There are truly some people on this planet that just should not be parents, that really don't deserve to be parents, like the father who literally put his child in harm's way instead of protecting his child for harm. For what? So he can rile up the police officer, so the police officer can put his hands on him, so he can film it, put it on TikTok, and maybe go viral, and then what? Have another BLM riot in the streets, destroying black neighborhoods and black businesses and black lives? Was that the purpose of what he was doing? Or is he just blindly ignorant and didn't realize he had this precious child in his hands, where putting his kid in harm's way, whether the police officer accidentally drops the kid or tackles him, or he drops the kid, anything could have happened. This father, honestly, I'm not saying he should have his kids taken away, but maybe just give it to a grandma for a second. Go take some fucking parenting classes. I don't know, raise your IQ level, and then you can go ahead and be a father again. And this is not the first time. We've seen every single day. Like, if I wanted to dedicate my channel, if I wanted to find this weird niche where I just talk about horrible parents, I would literally never run out of material. Every single day, there is something in the news about someone who's doing something horrible to their kids, whether it's abuse, whether it's neglect, whether it's worse, taking their own children's lives, whether it's pimping their kids out on social media or Hollywood, or literally pimping their kids out, whether it's letting their kids do drugs, whatever. There's always shitty parents out there.
It was shocking video. A father forcing his young son to run on a treadmill. He was so abusive to the 6-year-old, the boy died just days later. The father has just been found guilty of manslaughter. Now the boy's heartbroken mother is speaking with our Ann Mercogliano in this exclusive interview.
It's video that shocked the nation. A 6-year-old forced to run on a treadmill at high speeds. The little boy keeps falling off, and his dad keeps ordering him back on. He falls hard 6 times. 12 days later, prosecutors say Corey Michelow died from chronic abuse.
I just miss him, and sometimes I just want to say sorry.
Why did you take the decision to pile the bodies on top of each other in a freezer?
What do you mean?
Why did you do that?
Well, I only had one deep freezer. I mean, take the decision to pile the bodies on top of each other. Where's she gonna go?
How did you conceivably sleep at night?
I slept well.
This mother has been charged with strangling her 3 young children.
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
A father in Ohio in court facing the possibility of the death penalty. He's accused of plotting the execution of his 3 young sons.
At 10 o'clock, Arent Jones is reporting for us from Parker County.
It was one of the nastiest, filthiest places that I have ever been.
But the Parker County Sheriff says it's what was happening inside this Weatherford home that's truly disturbing.
It was just an awful situation.
Last month, 4 children were removed from this home and put in foster care. One child told authorities their stepfather, 20-year-old Colton Lackey, was sexually abusive and involved with child pornography. Their mother, 34-year-old Amanda Fuller, knew about the abuse but didn't act on it.
Parents have been arrested after years of allegedly sexually abusing their kids.
Police say this is the house a young child escaped from and went to a neighbor's house asking for food and water. They said that that child was severely malnourished, along with another one they found inside the same home.
He's going down as the biggest coward on the internet today, because a real man shields their kids from danger, not using their kids as a shield, carrying them into danger. And the saddest part about all of this is it's becoming a common theme, as when protesters block the streets, they also carry their kids on their backs to somehow protect them from the drivers. And this wasn't the only person protesting while using their baby as a prop. And more nefariously, some people actually commit crimes while behind their baby.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
I mean, even like the fucking helicopter parents that bulldoze every fucking obstacle out of their kids' way, so they're raised into a very, very weak, fragile human being as an adult. They're just shitty parents all over the freaking world. And this is why I'm obsessed with the idea of trying to push back against these right-wing conservative religious talking points of everybody just have babies again, because they think that's magically going to fix society or magically turn every father and mother into a Chad wife or a Chad husband. If you're extremely selfish and self-indulgent and low IQ and just ignorant beyond belief, you having kids isn't necessarily going to change that. Yes, you hear some of the stories and testimonies out there where people were on a wrong path in life and then they had kids and changed their lives, but that's not true for everybody. And so I personally think maybe we should have like do the whole like quality over quantity thing. Let's have more quality human beings instead of just like pumping out babies so we can have a bigger population so we can still have world domination or some bullshit like that. Now, I'm not saying that I legally want this to happen. That would be terrifying and dystopian to ever legally say like other people are not allowed to have children. I'm not all about that. I'm not Margaret Sanger, okay? I'm not trying to like, you know, birth out or like sterilize a whole group of people so they're not allowed to have children. But I just think it should be more of a talking point and more of a conversation. No one talks about the hundreds and thousands of kids who are reported every year for being abused or neglected. And when I say abused or neglected, I am not talking about being mispronounced. I am talking about objectively being abused and neglected. No one talks about the rampant underground child sex slave industry in America alone, right? And so everyone does this romanticization of like, if you just have babies and people just have more families, then the world will be fixed. Well, that would happen if we had a culture that still had values around family and children and sacrificing for those things, but we don't have that. We need to create that culture again before we just start pumping out more babies. Again, maybe put out the fire that's going on instead of just birthing more children into the fire. Maybe actually think about the quality of life of these kids just instead of having more kids. And no, that is not a pro-choice talking point, because there's 1 in a million ways not to get pregnant. So you don't have to get an abortion over and over again just to keep from bringing kids in this world that's going to have shitty lives because they have shitty parents. I personally think we should bring shame back in one way, and that's shaming people for having kids when they shouldn't have kids, like this father, like this man. There's so many people that don't have children because they know they're not going to have kids in the best situation, or they know they don't have that they're not going to be the best person for a child or to raise a child, and those people are called selfish. It's not selfish if you know yourself good enough to know I shouldn't be a parent, I don't want to be a parent, I'm not going to have the instincts, or I'm not going to want to sacrifice or whatever, or I know I'm not in a situation that's optimal to raise a child. And I don't care if you had a child when you were homeless, or you had a child when you were a crackhead, or you had a child when you were in an abusive relationship, or you had a child when you're too dumb, too young, or too stupid, and your child kind of turned out okay according to you, because a lot of times parents think their kid turns out okay, but their kids are actually fucked up and taking therapy behind your back. It doesn't matter if other people had kids in shitty situations. If we are evolved enough and intelligent enough to know those situations are great for kids, let's use that knowledge and not bring kids into shitty situations. I myself am not pro-kid or anti-kid. I've always usually been pretty like neutral on the idea of having kids, even though like most of my 20s I actually created a life centered around the idea of having children until I kind of got older and realized that wasn't actually my desire. I just kind of thought that I would fall into having kids because I felt like that's just what people did. Now I'm more educated and more adult, and I know like, oh, you don't have to just have kids if you don't want to have kids. I've decided to like, I have come from a broken family. I have seen so much abuse and so much neglect for children throughout my life, throughout my lived experience, that I will refuse to have kids in a situation that is not the best for a child. I personally think sometimes I think about the welfare of children more than the people that's just willy-nilly having kids. And for that, I'm called selfish. I would rather regret not having kids than regret having them, because that's a really fucked up thing to do to a child. Anywho, that's all I have to say about that. Look, stop telling people to have kids. Maybe bring the idea of actual family planning back, so you make sure you're having children when you need to be having children, or you should be having children, and stop being selfish and having children because you just want to have kids. That might be a conversation worth having. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell to get a notification when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you want to support the channel even further, please, for the love of God, donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the comment section down below, and you can super thanks. And you guys have an amazing and beautiful day.